Hello. Because yesterday I was sharing that about coming from Germany and being connected
to the
Nazis.
Nazis, yep.
And very shortly my grandfather came.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's quite a very delicate issue, or I don't know how to say that.
Yep.
And I shared I would love to help. So it was just wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, so the way to help is firstly to not have judgment for your grandfather.
Exactly.
That's number one, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you have judgment for your grandfather, he is not going to be able to bear his heart to you.
Yeah.
When he bears his heart to you, some of the things that are in his heart are going to feel to you really bad. So he might be in a rage with Jews, or he might be in a rage with Hitler, and he may be in a rage with this person, a rage with, that person, and he might have all this different emotion in him that you will feel very tempted to judge if you have any judgments at all going on in yourself about those emotions. The key is to get underneath that with him and help him get to the underlying grieving type emotions and help him to understand how to grieve through this. Because it's the grief that is the healing emotion. And if you can help him get to that point, then he will not feel judgment from you. He'll be able to speak openly about the things he did. And by the way, there's a lot of things he did that at the moment you would judge, and he knows it. And so what he would do is he would not tell you those things. Just like any person on earth. If someone on earth knows that they're going to get in trouble for something they did, is it very likely that they're going to tell you the truth?
Yeah.
No, of course. And so when we have judgment about the act, or the different things that have been done, and even judgment about the capping emotions in a person, we're not actually helping them get down to the real underlying soul-based, healing-based emotions. So whenever you're in a state where you're a medium and helping spirits, understand what you want to do is get them down. You want to not judge them, get them down. See, a lot of times today with mediumship, what happens instead is we get heaps and heaps of judgment from the medium. So the medium says, oh, that's a dark spirit. Oh, go away. Now, what does that do? All that does is traumatize that spirit further, right? That spirit now feels further judged, more judged than he's ever been before. He's come to try to resolve an issue, probably, and yet he's just been rejected again, like probably for the 500th time, 500th time of all the mediums that he's visited. And they're all trying to keep that bad energy away from them, when in reality all we need to do is help the person connect to their emotions and heal that. And that person won't be another person on the planet or in the universe who's projecting bad emotions to anyone else. So in the end, a lot of times, the problem for us, if we're mediums, is we get into this space of judgment. We reject what's coming to us. By the way, that's our law of attraction. So if this dark energy is coming to me and I'm feeling really petrified of it, that's my law of attraction. There's something inside of me that's unhealed. And I'm forgetting all of that, of course. And then on top of that, I'm judging that spirit, which causes that spirit to not be able to heal in that particular interaction something that they could heal. And so my suggestion is not do those things. Start looking at the emotions within. So with regard to your your grandpa and others.
It's not only my grandfather, it's my uncles.
And the whole families who were a part of the Nazi system.
Yeah.
There's a lot of...
One uncle killed himself, hanged himself. I mean, it's a big grief around that.
Yeah.
I would just say huge.
Yeah. So what we want to do instead is, instead of judging their actions and judging the choices they made then, what we want to do is get them out of this anger and out of the racial prejudicism and all the other types of angers that they have, and down into their grieving emotions so that they can heal it and connect to God. And the less you judge them, the faster you'll help them get into that space.
I feel also I need to get in my grief in that.
For sure. For sure.
As a child,
and by the way, this is something that I'd like to point out with regard to mediumship, but also healing and also helping people.
I feel it.
If you're not able to feel your own grief about something and you make out you don't have it, you are not able to help anyone else experience theirs. So what will happen is that if I've got an emotion in me that prevents me from experiencing my grief, every single person who comes to me for help, I'm going to block from experiencing their grief. Does that make sense? Now, if I've got a deep anger issue towards men, and I'm a healer, any man that comes along is going to feel that anger. He is not going to experience anything emotionally that's going to release in him unless he's a man who's browbeaten by an angry woman, if I'm the woman. Does that make sense? And if I've got an emotion inside of myself that is, really conciliatory towards women, I'm not going to ever confront any emotion in the women that need to be confronted of how much they want to domineer men. I'm not going to confront that emotion. So the key always gets back, if we want to help others, is firstly to focus on healing these emotions within ourselves, whether we're a medium, a healer of people on the spirit world or here on earth. Yeah.
I have also my grandmother, the wife of my grandfather around me, and she loves me very much, and she really loves if I could, help.
Yep.
him.
Yeah, and many of the spirits who have passed and who are now in the spirit world and who are on the divine love path and are even in the celestial kingdom feel quite frustrated that there's not enough helpers on earth who can help these spirits in dark conditions. It's much harder for a spirit in a celestial kingdom to help a spirit in a dark condition than it is for us. The reason why is the spirit who's in a dark condition more easily connects to a person on earth than they can connect to any other person in the spirit world or anywhere in the spirit world. And for that reason, it's so important to understand that many of our spirit friends who are celestial spirits are just waiting for many of you to have a desire to use your mediumship to help these other spirits. Does that make sense?
I can
Yeah.
see.
So if you can bear that in mind, that would be good.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'd like to finish off our session if we can now.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry it's getting really late and I could keep going with questions, but it's 6 o'clock already. Tomorrow night we'll be having the session, as I said, down at Bracken Ridge from 7 p.m. onwards, and it will be about emotions, truth and families. And then, of course, it will be 2 weeks' time back here at Butterham. Thank you so much for your time and attention, guys. Thanks. And now over the next 2 weeks, can I ask that you practice one thing? Practice living in your desires, and if you don't know what they are, allow yourself to start discovering some. Can you do that? So rather than trying to live in all these negative emotions all the time, just practice seeing what some of your desires are, and if they're harmonious with love, live in them for a bit and see what it feels like. Anyway, that's just a suggestion. Love you. See you then.